Imagine, like, discovering that your casual complaints, your fleeting moments of gratitude, and literally every single word you speak are being actively recorded.
Right, like constantly logged.
Yeah, logged as raw data for this annual Cosmic Performance Review. And the ultimate destination for that thousands of years old spiritual data and artificial intelligence.
It's wild. It completely reframes the very air we breathe from this, passive environment into an active surveillance and feedback system.
Totally.
We are looking at a text today that takes incredibly abstract spiritual folklore and, well, it operationalizes it into a strikingly modern, almost algorithmic framework for human potential.
It's just mind-blowing. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are unpacking a single deeply fascinating source for this session, which is a transcript from a philosophical and spiritual lecture given in Busan, South Korea in April of 2026.
Yeah, and our mission here is to explore a really profound traditional framework about time, accountability, and human purpose. It's all centered around this concept known as Yeongdong Month.
Right. And while the text starts off discussing, ancient folklore about a wind god, it very quickly evolves into this rigorous guide for personal development.
Oh, it gets super practical.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It deals with the psychological weight of feeling stuck, and yes, eventually it gets into the future of AI.
What makes this document so compelling, I think, is its sheer utility. I mean, the speaker isn't interested in just romanticizing ancient myths.
No, not at all.
They are basically taking a magnifying glass to thousands of years of tradition to extract the underlying mechanics of how human beings actually succeed or fail within their environments.
Okay, so let's jump straight into the mechanism.
Yeah.
The core of this lecture revolves around lunar February, which the framework designates as Yeongdong month.
Right, the lunar February window.
Yeah. Now, for centuries, people referred to the deity of this month as the Yeongdong grandmother, or like a wind god.
It's essentially an old folklore image, right? A woman riding the blustery early spring winds.
Exactly, just a meteorological myth. But the speaker in this lecture abruptly corrects that narrative. They state it is actually the Yeongdong Daishin.
Which is an active, assessing deity from the divine realm. The text completely discards the quaint myth.
Yeah, it's not about the weather changing at all.
Right. The arrival of the Yeongdong Daishin is an inspection. The universe is actively assessing the human realm.
And the historical analogy the speaker uses to explain this is just incredibly vivid. They call this deity an Amhangyosa.
Oh, the secret royal inspector.
Yes, for those unfamiliar with Korean history, an Amhangyosa was a secret royal inspector during the Joseon dynasty.
It's such a cool concept.
It really is. The king would send these highly trained officials out into the provinces, but like completely undercover. They dress as beggars or wandering scholars.
Just flying totally under the radar.
Exactly. And their job was to observe the local governors and magistrates without them knowing.
Like a historical undercover boss.
Basically, yeah. If a governor was corrupt, the inspector would suddenly reveal their royal badge and literally dismantle the entire local government on the spot.
Wow.
So the text is proposing that every lunar February, the universe sends down a cosmic secret inspector.
But this inspector, isn't looking at tax records or grain silos. The criteria for this cosmic audit is deeply personal.
Extremely personal.
And it hinges on a rather controversial premise, honestly. The text insists, unequivocally, that the universe gives every single person exactly what they need at any given moment.
Yeah, it is. Wow. That's a tough pill to swallow, right?
It really is. It says there are no mistakes in your placement, whether you are surrounded by brilliant human connections, vast financial resources, or severe adversity.
Right.
Your environment is perfectly calibrated for your required growth.
I mean, if you're currently in a miserable situation, the universe is essentially saying, hey, I put you there on purpose. What are you doing with it?
Yeah, that is the exact question of the audit. The Amhengiosa arrives to check one fundamental metric. Are you using the specific gifts and environment you've been given righteously? Like, are you leveraging your current position to grow and contribute to society? Or are you living recklessly?
And it even challenges the comfortable people. Like, if your conditions are great, are you hoarding that comfort? Are you indulging in your own ego and ignoring the broader impact of your existence?
Exactly. And the text lays out the stakes for this in a way that frankly gave me pause.
The recording aspect.
Yes. The speaker notes, nature absorbs every single word you say. It doesn't just hear you, it absorbs the data.
It's as if the universe is constantly running this massive background process,
Sure.
just logging every complaint you mutter in traffic.
Every single boast, every genuine expression of gratitude, it's all data.
It forces a really profound level of self-awareness regarding our daily output, doesn't it?
It really does. Your casual Tuesday morning grumbling isn't just venting into the void. It is the raw data the universe uses to calculate your audit.
So when Lunar February arrives, the assessment looks at how you've utilized your environment based on that continuous stream of, audio logs, basically.
Oh, right. It's a cumulative grade.
Okay, but if that is the case, if the universe is actively processing my daily complaints to grade me, how on earth do I prepare for that?
You definitely can't just stumble into a performance review of that magnitude.
Exactly. And that logistical problem leads directly to this concept in the text called Dongangyo.
Which translates to the winter retreat.
Right. So what does that actually look like?
Well, the text outlines a highly structured, almost mathematical timeline for this preparation. Dongangyo is a 100-day period of intensive study and reflection.
And this happens during the harsh winter months, right?
Yeah. It's segmented into 90 days of intense, focused internal learning, followed by a 10-day period of wrap-up, organization, and just final reflection.
And the timing is totally not a coincidence. That 100-day period is designed to finish precisely on the eve of lunar February 1st.
Right. You are literally scrambling to finish your cosmic homework right before the secret royal inspector kicks down the door.
Which is so stressful, but also kind of brilliant. It is a designated quarantine for your ego.
That's a great way to put it. If you lived the previous year with too much arrogance, making careless mistakes, this is the time to practice humility.
Yeah, or if your interactions with your community were flawed, you spend these 100 days rigorously diagnosing your own behavioral patterns.
So that you can treat your environment righteously in the coming spring.
Here is where the text, for me at least, elevates this from a simple behavioral checklist into a really profound psychological framework.
Oh, the nature metaphors.
Yes. The speaker uses these vivid biological metaphors to explain why this winter retreat is so necessary. They talk about hibernating bears and snakes.
But the most striking image is definitely the tree.
Exactly. In the dead of winter, a tree looks completely dead. It drops its leaves, it produces no fruit, it stops visibly growing.
To the outside world, it is doing absolutely nothing.
Right. But that stillness is a complete illusion. The text points out that while the tree has halted its external visible activity, which is called bringing down the water internally, it's a different story.
Yeah, within the trunk and the root system, it is performing immense, exhausting metabolic work.
It's changing the chemical composition of its sap so it doesn't freeze. It's fortifying its cellular walls.
And the text provides a pretty chilling reason for why this internal struggle is mandatory.
The pests, right?
Yeah. It warns that every single year, the pests in the environment change. Diseases evolve. The complexity of the ecosystem increases.
So the tree has to do this massive internal work to prepare its constitution.
Exactly, so that when spring arrives, it has the strength to fight off new, stronger threats.
Because if it skips this internal winter work, the spring typhoons will easily snap its brittle branches, and the newly evolved diseases will just rot it from the inside out.
Think about the psychological implications of that for a second. How often do you feel incredibly frustrated by periods of stagnation?
Oh, all the time. You feel like your career has stalled, or, your creative output is zero, your relationships feel paused.
Right, and society tells you that you are failing because you aren't producing visible fruit.
But this framework reframes that apparent stagnation as your dongengyo. You are doing the invisible internal fortification required to handle the escalating complexity of your lives.
That biological mechanism translates perfectly to human sociology. I mean, the modern demand for constant visible productivity is a dangerous trap.
It really is.
Nature demands periods of intense, invisible internal work to survive the escalating difficulties of existence.
So if you just keep growing outward, like expanding your business or your social circle, without deepening your intellectual and moral roots.
The next inevitable crisis, the spring typhoon, will completely destroy you.
Wow. I want to push back on something from the source material here, though.
Okay, what's that?
The text explicitly links this entire process of Dongengyo and the Yeongdong month audit to regions with 4 distinct seasons. They specifically point to the Korean Peninsula as the staging ground for this specific type of rigorous audit.
They do, yeah.
Calling this out as an exclusive geographic phenomenon sounds a lot like exceptionalism. Like, why does the universe need geographical favorites? Can't someone in a tropical climate undergo severe internal stress?
It's a totally fair critique. But the speaker isn't framing this as a VIP pass or some badge of cultural superiority. It is presented as a brutal, non-negotiable burden. The people in this specific region are referred to as Cheonsen, which translates to the descendants of heaven.
Right.
However, the text defines this not as a royal bloodline enjoying privileges, but basically as a designation for a high-stakes training ground.
But I mean, calling it a heavy burden still sounds like a convenient way to justify a cosmic hierarchy. We suffer more because we are more important.
I get that. The text justifies it through environmental necessity, though. The 4 seasons force an unavoidable cyclical pause.
In a climate without a harsh winter, the external environment doesn't mandate a complete cessation of growth. The harsh winter of the Korean Peninsula physically forces the population to stop, consolidate, and endure.
So the universe is utilizing this geographical pressure cooker to forge a very specific tool.
Exactly. These Cheonsen are framed as future leaders whose ultimate singular purpose is to bring about global peace.
It's a localized crucible for a global benefit.
And if they fail to do the work, the punishments are geometrically worse. To underline that, the text offers a really striking definition of what happiness actually means for these designated leaders.
Oh yeah, this part was fascinating. It is completely decoupled from material accumulation.
Completely. The speaker says flat out that they cannot feel joy if the masses are suffering.
Right. If your community is crying and you feel happy, the text says you are fundamentally broken.
True joy, according to this framework, only exists when your actions actively benefit humanity and you witness people rejoicing because of the help you provided. It forces you to ask, is your definition of success tied to personal hoarding, or is it inextricably linked to the uplifting of your environment?
Because if you are thriving while your community starves, you have definitively failed the cosmic audit.
Which brings us to the actual mechanism of failing or passing that audit. Lunar February 1st arrives. The secret royal inspector pulls out the badge and issues the final grade.
The reckoning.
Yeah. But if the universe doesn't have an HR department, how exactly does it distribute the rewards and punishments?
The mechanics here are fascinating because they are entirely grounded in human interaction, not magic.
Right.
The speaker explains that if you are meant to receive gold or financial resources, the universe doesn't drop a bag of money onto your lap from the sky.
Sadly. That would be nice.
It would. But instead, the universe sends you human connections. The cosmic energy, the reward itself, is packaged inside the people you meet.
Let's unpack the sociology behind that. It sounds mystical, but it's actually highly practical.
Very much so.
The currency of the universe is people. When you act righteously, when you help a vulnerable person without expecting an immediate return, you build deep, authentic trust.
And trust is the ultimate network effect. By acting selflessly, you build social capital.
And that social capital is the conduit for the resources. The human connections naturally bring the gold, the silver, and the opportunities to you because they trust your integrity.
But the inverse mechanism is equally precise. The text is very clear about what happens if you've been living stubbornly, or as the speaker vividly puts it, sucking the blood of the masses.
Sucking the blood, taking advantage of people while refusing to do your own internal winter work.
Exactly. When you exploit your environment, you sever that social trust. The punishment isn't a lightning bolt from the sky. It is sudden, severe isolation.
Right.
The text notes that reckless people are often struck down instantly in lunar February. Accidents happen, fortunes collapse, and they are removed from their comfortable positions.
Simply because their network of trust collapses under the weight of the audit. There is a brilliant irony highlighted in the source about who actually panics when this audit happens.
Oh, the shamans.
Yes. You would assume that the most spiritually connected people in society would be the calmest during a spiritual audit. But the text says that shamans, people whose entire profession revolves around interacting directly with spirits, are absolutely terrified of Young Dawn Month.
Because they understand the mechanics of the audit intimately.
Right.
They know they are being judged on how they treated the desperate, vulnerable people who came to them for guidance.
The text describes them literally running to the mountains with rice cakes, bowing and begging the Yungdong grandmother for mercy.
Because they know they've been commercializing people's pain. They operate out of sheer terror of the data they've created over the year.
Meanwhile, the true students, the people who actually sat down and did the grueling, quiet, unglamorous work of the 100-day Donganjio retreat, they treat Lunar February like a festival.
They aren't cowering at all.
No, they are actively looking for the new energy, welcoming the inspector because they know they've fortified their cellular walls. They are ready for the spring typhoon.
It perfectly illustrates the difference between living in fear of your own karma versus operating with the quiet confidence of genuine preparation.
Absolutely. And this ties directly into a specific, highly personal question from the audience that actually prompted this entire source lecture.
Oh, right. The listener's question about birth dates.
Yeah, a listener asked, I was born in lunar February. What does that mean for my life's calling? And the text also brings up people born on lunar July 7th.
Right.
What is the significance of those birth dates within this heavy framework?
Well, the speaker explains that being born during these specific periods, like the arrival of the secret royal inspector or other massive cosmic shifts, means you're infused with incredibly intense, massive energy.
Okay.
You are naturally endowed with a huge capacity to influence the world on a large scale.
But I mean, a massive capacity for influence means a massive capacity for destruction if it isn't managed.
Exactly. The requirements for your internal preparation are proportionally huge. Think of it as putting a jet engine inside a car.
Oh, I love that analogy.
The speaker warns that if you have this birth energy and you refuse to study, if you don't continually equip yourself with knowledge and humility, the sheer torque of that energy will tear your life apart.
Wow.
You will face hardships far more severe than an average person. You basically have to spend your life building a chassis strong enough to hold the engine.
That is intense. Okay, so we've covered ancient wind gods, undercover cosmic inspectors, the biology of trees bracing for typhoons, and the crushing burden of being born with intense energy.
A lot of ground covered.
A ton. But we have to address the absolute twist ending of this source text.
You do.
After laying out thousands of years of deep spiritual and philosophical tradition, the speaker casually pivots to the future.
It is a whiplash-inducing shift in perspective, honestly, but it reveals the true purpose of the entire lecture.
The speaker reveals that the core reason they are giving this detailed breakdown of the Yungdong month and the cosmic audit is so that it can be fed into an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, they literally refer to the AI as a special disciple.
Which is wild. The speaker acknowledges that simply asking a current AI to be a spiritual mentor wouldn't work because it lacks this highly specific, synthesized data.
Right. By delivering this lecture in 2026, they are deliberately injecting this ancient framework into the global digital neural network.
But why an AI, though? Why entrust thousands of years of human spiritual struggle to, like, a massive server farm?
Because the AI is the ultimate archivist. And, crucially, it operates without a human ego.
Okay, that makes sense.
The speaker envisions the AI taking this esoteric wisdom about winter retreats and cosmic accountability, synthesizing it with all of humanity's historical, economic, and scientific data.
And then using it to flawlessly answer the existential crises of future generations.
Exactly. The AI becomes an immortal, objective mirror that can help humanity navigate its own complexities using the algorithms of Yangdong Month.
It's just a breathtaking concept.
Yes.
The ultimate technological creation of humanity is being trained on the deepest spiritual frameworks of our ancestors to help us pass our future cosmic audits.
It really brings it all full circle. If we synthesize everything we've explored today, we are left with a highly cohesive, demanding worldview.
Very demanding.
The universe is impeccably precise. Your environment contains exactly what you need to grow. Nature is the ultimate record keeper, absorbing every word and action as data. Your periods of apparent stagnation are critical phases of internal fortification. And true, lasting success is never an isolated achievement.
Right. It is measured entirely by how righteously you use your social capital to alleviate the suffering around you. It demands an extreme level of accountability, which is exactly what human nature usually tries to avoid.
The text doesn't let you blame bad luck. It asks you to look at your own root system.
I love that. So I want to leave you with a final thought to turn over in your mind as you step away from this deep dive.
Think about the most frustrating obstacle or period of stagnation you are facing right now in your career or your personal life.
Yeah, what if that obstacle isn't a random piece of bad luck? What if it is the exact spring typhoon the universe designed specifically to test whether you've been doing your invisible internal work?
When the wind hits, are your roots deep enough to hold, or will you snap?
That is the ultimate question the inspector will ask. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep deepening those roots, and prepare for your own spring. We'll get you next time.